Well, once a week we go out to the other coast of the United States, to Hollywood, and find out what's happening in movies, and we check in with Michael Snyder to find that out. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Alex, and welcome to the winter. I hope you're staying warm wherever you are. Even out here in Los Angeles, it's been rainy and chilly, but I know other people are dealing with far more severe weather. So stay cozy and maybe go to the movies. Let me give you a quick rundown of what we've seen in the past week or two. I'll make it quick, but pay attention. There's a couple good ones in here. Mary, Queen of Scots will kick it off. It's the tale of the feisty Mary Stuart, her attempt to overthrow her cousin, Queen Elizabeth of England, and the aftermath of that attempt. And it stars Saoirse Ronan as Mary and Margot Robbie as Elizabeth. Plus, you get, in smaller roles, David Tennant, Guy Pearce, and Gemma Chan. I mean, non-traditional casting aside, the performances by Ronan and Robbie are so good that you can dismiss the presence of, say, black courtiers, including Elizabeth's envoy to Mary, and at least one favored lady-in-waiting of Asian descent, played by the lovely Gemma Chan of Humans and Crazy Rich Asians. I mean, its heart is in the right place, as it puts a period spin on a timely topic, which is the burden facing women in a patriarchal world, and it features two powerhouse actresses. I mean, Ronan seems to get better and more compelling with each role, and Robbie is a match for her. But it's kind of a battle of wills and wits between the women, and emotional content. Those things are kind of chilly. And when it comes to films about royal intrigue and power struggles between women, this paled a little bit when compared to the thrills and wit and passion of The Favorite. Nonetheless, it's pretty good. And if you're in a masterpiece theater kind of mood, you could do a lot worse than Mary, Queen of Scots, let me say. Moving on to something more contemporary, Vox Lux features Natalie Portman and Jude Law in a drama about an international pop star who has had to deal with a series of traumas and scandals since her first unlikely success in a teenage duo with her sister. Elevated into the public eye because of tragedy, the girls' lives changed forever, and one of them springs into a life of stardom while the other remains behind the scenes with all the dysfunction that implies. And we catch up to the sisters years down the line and see what fame has done to them. It's an interesting premise and does address some aspects of the gifts and burdens and price of celebrity, but it's still sort of meh in comparison to what it could have been. I'm thinking about A Star is Born in relation to this, and I'm thinking after this movie, it's more like A Star is Bored, but that would devalue the well-realized and off-putting performance by Portman as the grown-up, and jaded Celeste, who's the sister that ended up in the spotlight. Law plays the manager who saw something special in the sisters and sticks with them through good and bad. And Willem Dafoe kind of narrates the movie. He's never on screen. He's narrating it like a cautionary tale, and it is one of sorts, even if it's, here's a spoiler alert, musical climax. Seems to just happen with no thematic impact. Written and directed by Brady Corbett. The guy obviously was, this is a passion project, but it needed more passion, flat out. That's what it needed, and that's what it didn't get. Okay, moving along to Ben is Back. A prodigal son unexpectedly returns home for Christmas after a troubling series of events that land him in rehab, and his mother is desperate to keep a wary eye on the boy and make sure he's okay. Is he clean? Will he screw up? Will he ruin Christmas? Uh-oh. Anyway, this is a generally solid, well-acted, and familiar sort of film. It reminds me in tone of other sad homecoming for the holidays movies. That's a genre of sorts. And it's also a little strange in that this is the second movie within a month to feature actor Lucas Hedges as a problematic young man at odds with his parents due to behavioral issues. He was the closeted middle American gay kid sent to a conversion camp in Boy Erased. But his earlier role in Manchester by the Sea was a much better vehicle than either of these more recent films. In this case, it's a self-destructive drug use thing that drives a wedge between Hedges' character Ben and his mother Holly, who is actually well played to a point by Julia Roberts, one of her better recent performances. And you also get the powerful Courtney B. Vance as Holly's second husband, Ben's stepfather. It's written and directed by Peter Hedges with assurance. It's definitely a change of pace from end-of-year blockbusters, if that's what you seek. I want to bring attention to one of my favorite films of the year. It's called Shoplifters, and it was written and directed by the masterful Japanese filmmaker Hirokazu Koreeda. And it looks, or was this guy actually? Yeah, he's fantastic. He's definitely one of the best directors working today, and this is in my top 10. If it isn't a contender for Best Foreign Film Oscar, something is seriously wrong. It actually won the Palme d'Or at Cannes this year, and it's Japanese. It's the official Japanese Oscar entry. It's the story of a family of small-time crooks who take in a kid they find on the street, and with very emotional results. I've seen and loved two of this guy's earlier movies, Nobody Knows and Like Father, Like Son, both about family issues, and they are simply stunning, and so is Shoplifters. Powerful, heartbreaking, solidifies my belief that Koreeda is one of the great directors working in modern cinema. I just want to say quickly, we missed a few films in the previous week. Big deal. One of them is Mowgli. That's right. You know the name, you know the character. Mowgli, who is, of course, the hero of the Jungle Book. And Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle, is a retelling of the Jungle Book with live actors and motion capture animation. And it features a voice cast led by Benedict Cumberbatch, Christian Bale, Cate Blanchett, and the director of the film, Andy Serkis. And if you like Disney's The Jungle Book, animated or live action, there ain't no songs here. And you wonder why Serkis has overseen another version of Rudyard Kipling's stories of Mowgli, who's the boy raised by wolves in the jungles of colonial India. But this is technically beautiful, generally engaging, and relatively faithful to Kipling. If it sounds like I'm damning with faint praise, so be it. And I guess we'll just wrap up by saying that I loved Anna and the Apocalypse. It says zombie apocalypse threatening the sleepy town of Little Haven, an English town, at Christmas time. And it forces Anna and all of her friends to fight and slash and sing their way to survival. It's a British horror comedy musical, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. Not that many recognizable faces in the cast. But, they really brought it, and some of the songs are catchy. Reminded me a little of Buffy the Vampire Slayer's Once More with Feeling musical episode, and that's kind of flattering, actually. What have you been watching, buddy?
Well, to begin with, let me. You were bothered by the fact that they cast black people as courtiers in this. What was it, Mary Queen of Scots?
Yeah, well, I was a little off-putting because
it may be off-putting, but the Brits have always hired the best actor for the job and not paid attention to color. They do that with their television all the time, and they have a part that should obviously be white, and it isn't.
No, understood. No, and this revisionist history vibe or non-traditional casting doesn't really detract from the film. Mm-hmm. The actors they have in place are really, really wonderful. The movie is, you feel, oh, this is a familiar sort of film, and I wish I had felt like the kind of excitement I felt while watching The Favorite, and I just didn't. But granted, sure.
As for stuff this week, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is out now for season 2. And as we watched it, we wondered if it was as good as the first one. And by the time we got to the end of it, we agreed that it was. So it lives up to form. It just takes a while getting there. It is 2 episodes longer than the original series, but it's excellent. And all the actors are terrific in it, especially Tony Shalhoub, who just knocks it out of the park. So I suggest The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And also a show I finally caught up to after 8,000 people told me you should watch this thing, and we finally went and binged it, and that's Killing Eve, which is maybe the best television show of last year.
It's a fantastic ride, and Sandra Oh gets what she's long deserved, a role in the spotlight as the central figure, a cop in England who becomes obsessed with a serial killer, a female serial killer.
Yeah, and the serial killer is played by Julie Corden, I believe her name is, and she is superb. She is the most psycho killer since Hannibal Lecter.
It's also, it's kind of a career maker for her in some ways. I'd never seen her before, and I was like,
she did the White Queen on Starz.
Didn't see that, but there you go.
Yeah,
she's fantastic. Coming up within a week or so on Netflix, you should be able to see Alfonso Cuarón's Roma, which could be one of the best films of the year. We'll get to that, hopefully.
Well, it's in theaters now, so.
It is,
Yeah.
but I mean, you'll be able to watch it on Netflix. But
Yeah.
you can catch me on Twitter at Culture Blaster, and also on Facebook at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page.
And if you're listening to this on our 24/7 feed, there's more GABNet coming right up. Thank you, Michael.
You bet.